Alright, if you can sit down and if you can pose, you can be in my video. What do you say? Thanks for taking the time to check out this video. This video is an overview of my own personal experience with the Nevro HF-10 or high frequency technology spinal cord stimulator trial. Why am I making this video? The reason is because when I went into the trial, I was basically blind. There were only a few forums that you can go on to. One of them is spinehealth.com. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link in the description so you can check it out. It was basically the only online forum that gave objective experience of the people who had actually gone through the trial and gotten the unit implanted. I looked up YouTube videos and I spent almost an hour searching for someone who had actually done the trial. Now, of course, there are several videos on there about people getting spinal cord stimulator trials. However, they weren't exactly the Nevro high frequency unit trials. These ones are brand new in the United States. They just received FDA clearance about 18 months to 2 years ago. As of the time of this video, currently it's May of 2017. So what I did find on YouTube was several videos chronicling the company patients, I like to call them. These are people with amazing stories. You know, I was able to get back on my horse, get back on my motorcycle, I can do things again, and they're basically amazing success stories. And while they may be true, they're not exactly an objective view of the high frequency spinal cord stimulation. I don't think it covers all the bases. And in my mind, it is propaganda. Propaganda is necessary for a company that wants to promote a good product. However, we need to be able to look at both sides of the coin. So this is basically, what you'll see on those YouTube videos of Nevro. You'll see the company website, the company YouTube channel, and they show these, portrayals of people having wonderful success. Okay, so I'm going to give you a brief history of my low back pain. I'm about to turn 32 years old, and I've been in chronic, debilitating low back pain since I was 21 years old. It's been about 10.5 years now. So the initial injury was a racquetball injury. I was playing racquetball very feverishly, and I felt something pop during the game. I kept playing, being the invincible 21-year-old I was, and toward the end I couldn't stand up straight. Went to the hospital. Over the next series of months, I got the x-rays, I got the MRIs, CAT scans, all the good stuff. And the doctors told me that it was very simple. I had a herniated disc. That wasn't the case. A year later, I was up in Chicago. And by the way, I was in college at this time. I was going to school to be a professional pilot. Went up to Chicago, met with a spinal surgeon who told me that my disc had actually ruptured. There are two parts to a disc. The inner part is the nucleus pulposus, and the outer part, which basically is, the armored structure of the disc, is the annulus fibrosus. It's a very stiff, rigid material. That was still intact, but the nucleus had blown, and basically the annulus had collapsed around it. So I wanted to continue with my career, and I couldn't sit down in an airplane for more than 4 hours. So I got 3 fusions in a row because the first one didn't work, the second one didn't work. Finally, they took out my hardware, and this is over the course of 3 years, 23 years old to 25. And I lived in debilitating pain. Nothing worked. I was on narcotics for 5 years straight until I finally got sober in 2013, about 4 years ago. And I was 28 years old. Since then, you know, it's been pain every single day. It's the first thing I feel in the morning. It's the last thing I feel before I go to bed. Okay, so the doctors aren't going to tell you that getting the Nevro HF-10 spinal cord stimulation trial is going to hurt. They're not going to tell you that. There might be some procedural pain, they'll say. I can't speak for anybody else, okay? But I was in a great deal of pain for the first day and a half after the procedure. Now that was procedural pain at the actual surgical site that you guys just saw a minute ago. So you go into a room and it's a sterile environment. There are, you know, 3 nurses, 3, that have to watch over your condition. There are 2 doctors that are doing the actual procedure, and there's also a tech in the room that's watching on a live x-ray screen. I think it's called fluoroscopy, about how the leads are going up in your back, you know, what the progress is like. So you can't eat or drink anything in the previous, I think it was a total of 7 hours. So they told me to stop eating at midnight, and I had the procedure started at 7:30. I lay down on a table, and they gave me some narcotics. I believe the first one is called Versed, and the second one was fentanyl. So I don't actually remember the procedure. I don't remember the wires going in. I couldn't feel a thing. I woke up in recovery about an hour later. They made me as comfortable as I could. I felt okay. I told the doctor that I had some soreness at the surgical site, but it was really not an issue. What I didn't know at that time was that the fentanyl and whatever other calming agents that they were using was starting to wear off very quickly. This is not like a morphine shot. It's not like taking a pill of OxyContin. It wears off extremely quickly. So by the time that my dad had gotten the car, I was trying to get out of bed, get into this wheelchair, and something was extremely wrong with my body. I knew that I couldn't go anywhere. I asked for the doctor. I said, "Doc, listen, I don't know what's going on, but I'm in a huge deal of pain." So he mercifully granted me, I think it was a prescription total of 12 Percocet for the duration of the trial. I took one in the doctor's office, felt better 45 minutes later, and then we went back to the hotel. So I'm wearing a battery pack that's around my waist. This is the unit, the temporary unit that you're going to be wearing. As you can tell, it's got a green light that's blinking, indicating it's working. You might see these wires. Okay, these wires are taped to my back, and they run up to this area right here that's undoubtedly a little bit red with blood. And there are 2 leads, one on both sides of your spinal canal, and they go up about 12 inches. There are a total of 8 electrodes at certain places in the back that radiate this high frequency. So the battery pack is attached by a very sturdy Velcro belt. It's even got a clip on the back that you can hook the wires into. I highly recommend covering this unit at all times with a t-shirt. You know, you saw my lovely cat Builder a minute ago. He loves shoelaces. He loves destroying my iPhone cords. You know, I need to make sure that he doesn't think that's a play toy and rip these things out of my back. You know what I'm saying? Alright, so real quick before we get into the actual different dates of the trial and what I've been going through, I want to talk about what kind of things that they're going to give you after the device has been implanted. What kind of support are they going to offer you? Well, the head doctor down at the pain clinic at Mayo, let's just call him Dr. John. Dr. John said he would be in contact with me every day, and he has called me every single day, even on the weekends, to check my progress. I was also assigned a Nevro representative who I talked to before and after the procedure, and I've been in contact with her every single day. Here's what they're actually going to give you when they send you home. These are two special Nevro battery pack batteries that can only be used with this unit. They're very similar to AA's. However, they recommend that if the battery does go out during the trial, that you don't use normal AA batteries to replenish it. You've got to use these special purple ones that they give you. I was given some more tape, gauze for my back, some literature such as frequently asked questions, I was given a trial program schedule. I'll get more into this in just a minute. I was given a quick guide to the trial stimulator, which is the actual battery pack. I was also given a quick guide to the remote that I was going to be using. That remote is this right here. Okay, so now I'd like to talk about the actual trial progress, what happened during each day, so on and so forth. So the first day of the procedure, excuse me for a minute, Bill. Thanks, buddy. Alright, so the first day was the procedure and installation of the unit. Of course, with the wires leading up into my spine. It was done in sterile conditions, as I mentioned. So for the procedure, no memory due to Versed and fentanyl IV sedation. Let's see, recovery. After 10 to 15 minutes post-procedure, the meds had worn off. The fentanyl and the Versed calming agents had gone away. I felt intense surgical site pain. The doc prescribed Percocet, 7.5 milligrams. Notably, I could not feel normal low back pain that night. However, I was moving very slow due to the surgery happening that day. So, there are several different programs on this Nevro unit that you can try, and you have to try them basically with the permission of the Nevro rep. You know, you could change programs on your own. I wouldn't recommend it because it takes several hours for each program to actually start taking effect into your back. But once it does take effect, it's there, and that's what what your body is going to be encountering during that specific program. So for the first day, I was on Nevro Program 1, which they don't really tell you what that entails. Level 5. Percocet use was 2.5 total pills. The second day was more recovery, driving back home. So my father had been present for the whole thing, did a really great job taking care of me, and he drove me from Phoenix, Arizona, back to my home here in Prescott, Arizona, which is about, I think I mentioned, an hour and a half. So let's see what I said that day. This is Friday, second day. Moving easier, pain relief still intact, surgical pain still hurts. Still at Program 1, Level 5. Percocet use down to 2 tabs. Third day, this is Saturday. I'm back home. by myself. You know, my dad's flown back to Chicago. I woke up with virtually no pain, no normal chronic low back pain, pain radiating into my right leg, my buttocks. I mean, you guys have been through it, you know what it's like. It wasn't there. So moving around better, drove to Walgreens, Walmart, and to work. I didn't actually work, I was just there to talk to HR. Spoke to my Nevro rep, Shelley, very optimistic. However, at night, the pain and soreness increased. So let's see. I tolerated standing and sitting today much better than usual. Still Nevro Program 1, and Shelley told me I could move in between levels 5 and 6. So let's talk about the fourth day. This is yesterday, it was Sunday, it was a very difficult day for me. I woke with intense pain. I had trouble standing without support. Pain relief was gone. Shelley recommended move to Program 2, Level 5. May 14th, 4:45 p.m. Currently I'm on the fourth day of my spinal cord stimulator trial from Nevro with HF, high frequency 10. And I've had a change this morning. When I woke up this morning, something was wrong back there. The pain had intensified. It's like my back pain had completely come back. The light was still blinking. You know, there was no problem with the unit. So what Shelley, my Nevro rep, is having me do is turn it to Program 2. So that's what I did. The pain is still consistent. Low back and buttock stabbing, pulsating pain noted on and off for several hours. Surgical site pain was less today and my mobility still increased. I also noted a strange sensation. I was standing upright when a tingling sensation began. This is that paresthesia kind of thing I was talking about, where you can kind of feel the electricity tingling. It's uncomfortable. That came and went for about 3 minutes and then disappeared. So, Nevro, Program 2, Level 5. Percocet use was down to 1.5 tabs. So now I want to talk about the fifth day, which has been this past day, and it's been amazing. Okay, it's Monday afternoon at about 2:45. Woke up, I don't know, half hour ago. I'm on Program 2, Level 5. Yeah, that's right. And I don't want to move from this position because it feels awesome. I can't feel any pain in my back right now. I haven't had a day like this since 2009. I'm literally afraid to get out of bed because of how good it feels, and my mind's telling me, oh, well, if you move, you're going to screw it up. But this is pretty positive. I was a little worried yesterday, but this feels awesome. So I want to keep this thing going on, whatever it is. Thanks. Currently, it's the 8th day of my Nevro high-frequency spinal cord stimulator trial. I'm going to get the unit taken out today, driving down to Phoenix in about a half an hour, and Last night I moved to program 3. For me, program 2, level 7 seemed to be a really sweet spot. To be honest with you, if there were 3 programs, I wanted to try all 3 programs, and program 3 is where every single one of the leads turns on. Oh, it feels pretty awesome. I woke up this morning with kind of a sense of what I would usually be waking up. What my usual wake up would be like. Let me put it to you that way. And that would be not wanting to crawl out of bed without having 45 minutes after some ibuprofen. But I was able to crawl right out of bed. I didn't need to do my usual stretching routine. You know, it's one thing living with daily pain. I mean, if you're watching this, you know, for this long, you know how bad just daily chronic debilitating pain can be. But I'm kind of speechless that I haven't been able to just crawl out of bed and, you know, go about my day since 2009. Alright guys, so today was the 8th and final day of my spinal cord stimulator trial. Drove down to Phoenix this morning, got the leads removed, and I want to show you guys something really interesting. You guys have seen the remotes, you've seen the pamphlets, you've seen me, but my doctor down in Phoenix was kind enough to let me have the actual leads that were in my back. So this is what they look like. Okay, here's the business end. As you can see, they've got a total of 8 leads. These go up your spinal cord, 1 on both sides, approximately 12 inches up. I think it was probably about that far up. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's the actual amount that was in my back. Pretty cool. Okay, aside from showing you guys the leads, I want to talk to you for a minute about the removal procedure. It was painless, it was simple. The doctor cut the 2 sutures, and he then pulled these out of my spine by hand. A total of 12 inches. Weird feeling, but you can't really feel it. I mean, it was painless, no painkillers, no sedation. Probably took about 5-10 minutes at the most. But I didn't realize how much pain I was in until these were out of my back. I was driving home. It takes an hour and a half to drive from Phoenix, Arizona to Prescott, Arizona. And within an hour, it felt like, you know, when I was sitting, it felt like my tailbone was being crushed. I had to keep shifting around, moving around, and I've got lightning bolts going down my legs right now. I can't believe I was living in this much pain before, so I went ahead and scheduled the full-blown surgery, the permanent implant of these, for June 1st of 2017. And of course, I'm going to make a video. I'll upload it, you know, as soon as I can. But I just want to say that this trial has been a complete success. There were a couple of days where I wasn't sure if it was going to work. That was on program 1. Program 2 was even better. Program 3 was the best, which is the one I tried last night. I strolled into the doctor's office, and I was in a great mood. He's like, "So how's your pain?" And, you know, he's a doctor. He's looking at me real inquisitive. "How's your pain?" And I said, "Doc, I feel great. I'm like at number 1 right now." So he's like, "Wow, that good. So if you could quantify, or, you know, quantify the you know, the pain relief in a percentage," and I said, "Probably 90%. I don't want to live like this any more than I have to, and we're going for it. So wish me luck. Say a prayer my way. Thanks for checking out my video. I hope this has been informative. I hope you've learned something and garnered a little bit from my experience. Have a good one. God bless.